Souls its piper, and when I heard all the spiritual references in the song Field Trip, I immediately knew I had to make a video explaining it in depth, and if this video does well, I'll make it a series and analyze some of her other songs. Excuse me. This video is sponsored by Shawnee OWE on behalf of Little Kumari. Stay tuned for a preview of her song Lonely Sinner's Deity, which is her best thus far in my opinion, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. A lot of people, including Melanie herself, have talked about the spiritual references in the song Field Trip, though I haven't seen anyone really explain it in heavy detail. So on Instagram, Melanie wrote the following about her song. Field Trip is a more personal song about some of the intricacies of who I am as a human. Being an empath, a life path 11, bridge between the divine and the material, the duality of my triple Taurus and triple Scorpio placements, the contrast between what my mother was going to name me when I was in the womb, Katerina, pure light, and what she ended up naming me the minute I was born, Melanie, darkness, and also a reminder that whatever imaginary box people put me in, I will always find a way out. Empress energy. So now I'm going to explain what all this means in depth. Verse 1 opens up with the following. You know I'm not one to take orders from you. I'll drop another clue for you. Peekaboo, now do you get it? You always wonder why I just say forget it. 'Cause talking to a brick wall gives me headaches. This is kind of like the song's thesis. She's saying that people don't understand her and who she really is, and they don't even understand why she just says forget it when she tries time and time again to tell people who she is, and they still do not get it. Spread your lies while I stretch. Spread my legs and do the splits. Here she's taking the literal imagery of her spreading her legs and doing the splits, a dance move I think she's done more than once, and she's juxtaposing her spreading her legs to do the splits with other people spreading lies about her, so a double meaning of the word spread here. But alternatively also, as I'm sure most of you realize, spread my legs can be easily taken as sexual innuendo. This could be about people spreading lies about a specific consensual encounter. It goes on with, yell at me on your screen while I send love to your being. This could be about a lot of things. Melanie receives a lot of hate online from people who don't understand her work and who make assumptions about who she is and why she does the things she does, and, sometimes they believe rumors about her that aren't true. When in reality, here she is on the other side of the screen, probably taking all this in and trying her best to make her fans happy, trying her best to make the world a better place, even when people don't really appreciate her. It kind of reminds me of the song Show and Tell in this sense, and perhaps in a more spiritual level, she's here saying that she's choosing to send empathy and love to people who aren't doing her the same kindness. This seems to be indicated by the following lyrics as well. You are not real, just like me. We were never our bodies. We're just us, energy, hot like melting icy cream. Here she's saying that we are not really our bodies. We are not physically tangible beings. We are simply a consciousness who pilots a body. In other words, we are all spiritual beings living a human experience, and here she is sending us love whether we deserve it or even want it or not. Excuse me again. In the chorus, things get more bluntly spiritual, Melanie states. I'm going to try not to sing this. Trying to bring the mystical into the material. Bitch, I'm an 11 life path. I'm ethereal. I'm the definition of dichotomy duality. Okay, so this is all about her life path number, which is 11. The life path number is calculated by adding together every number in your birthday and continuing to do so until it is reduced to either a single digit number or a double number. Since 11 is a double 1, we do not really reduce it to a 2, although 11s will have some traits of 2s. Life path 11s are very spiritual, like she says, a bridge between the divine and the material, aka our reality here on Earth, and 11s have a lot of duality since they are also a 2. 11s tend to live great and difficult lives because they are so often overwhelmed by their intuitive gifts. A lot of 11s are empaths and can feel others' emotions, sometimes like as strongly as if they're their own, and they're very deep, and they're more likely to solve problems in an empathetic or spiritual way than they are to use logic. The next line, Katerina in the womb for 9 months till she birthed me, which came out of her mouth so fast my brain.executable crashed the first time I heard it. It seems rather on the nose at first, but a lot of people believe that the name you give your child is significant because names have meanings. Names can also have numerology values, kind of like the life path number, but she doesn't go into this here, so I won't either. So in this case, Katarina, like she said earlier, means pure light, while Melanie means darkness, so they have opposite meanings. This further expands on the themes of duality we see in her life path number, and I think is reflected by her work. Her music has beautiful messages about self-love, interpersonal issues, issues we face as youth, etc., but she almost always approaches these topics in an extremely dark manner, even as she engages with her inner child. Like her song about body image, about a teen eating oranges and barfing them, aka turning oranges into orange juice. It's coupled with the disturbing metaphorical image of Kelly using her to physically juice oranges. I could give more examples from just about any song she's ever made, but I'm sure you get it. Even in this song, she's talking about a very spiritual, highly evolved things, but she's doing it in the darkest way possible, calling herself a Scorpio bitch with a sharp-ass sting, using sexual innuendo as a metaphor, and comparing the human soul to melting icy cream, excuse me. Also, the next line further connects these themes. Look at her, she's a bridge, and on her bridge, I'll take a shit. I love this so much. The layers of this metaphor, they're amazing. Okay, so it's in third person, so this is likely about how other people see and treat her. So here she's using her bridge in two different metaphorical ways. First, as in Life Path 11, she's a bridge between spirituality and our material earth life. But then also she imagines this bridge as an actual bridge that people shit on. This could be interpreted in a number of ways. No one is taking her seriously and respecting her despite all the hard work and how hard she tries to help others through her music. Or maybe it's just that like she tries to explain how she's a life path 11 and how it affects her, but no one will take her seriously. And I can say, you know, as a witch myself, this is fairly common. People do tend to act like our spiritual beliefs are just craziness on some level and attribute it to logical fallacies and shit, and I'm so tired of. Next she says, "F it up, you get lit. Let's get deep. If not, I'll dip. I'll be writing solo on my field trip." This is a little more clear, more blunt. If you can't respect her or connect with her on a deeper level, like she wants as an 11, she will not hang out with you. She would rather be alone than have a bunch of fake, shallow friends. This is a common attitude in Life Path 11s. 11s do not like casual friendships or relationships. They crave a spiritual connection with their loved ones. This next section is more about her heritage, but I'm going to cover it anyway. "I'm never gonna be what you had envisioned. You say Blanquitas feel more Latina than you. Ahora lo entiendes." These lyrics are likely about people who says she isn't Latina enough for one reason or another. Blanquita, of course, means exactly what you think it does. It's a girl with a non-white ethnic background, but who has pale skin. Ahora lo entiendes, which I almost definitely pronounced wrong just now, but I'm pretty sure a literal translation for that is, "Now do you fucking get it since I'm saying it in Spanish, you colorist shitheads." Of course, there are other reasons people say she's not Latina enough, but none of them matter, if you ask me, because she is in this physical 3D reality a Latina. Her last name is Martinez, for fuck's sake. I don't get this shit. I don't even want to talk about it anymore, actually. You always say you're woke, it's your aesthetic, but is your empathy actually authentic, is it? I love this line a lot too. Woke is, for posterity's sake, an urban slang word, meaning one is awake to social issues. Aesthetic is all about your look on social media, so when she says, woke, it's your aesthetic, what she's actually saying is people are trying to look woke on social media so they can look good. So this is further driven home when she says, but is your empathy actually authentic, is it? You see this a lot nowadays, especially on Instagram. Melanie has been supporting BLM for a while now. That's not a social statement, YouTube. That's just a fact. Don't demonetize me, thanks. So a lot of people use current social issues as an opportunity to show how open and woke they are and bait the underdog to follow them. But just posting up a supportive message you didn't even write yourself and then never talking about it again, that's not really supporting vulnerable groups. It's lazy activism at best. It's inauthentic empathy. They're flexing support. Woke is their aesthetic. Now, I'm not saying that you can't defend oppressed people on Instagram, obviously, please do, but also put your money where your mouth is, so to speak. You know, if you really care about people, sign petitions, donate, protest, call your senators, do something that isn't about you. That's my advice to anyone who wants to help out and not be an aesthetic woker or whatever. So, now we're on the pre-chorus. I am shy, but I do speak when I truly need to say some shit that hopefully will reach the ears it's supposed to be. This is a little more sad than it seems on first listen. So Melanie is shy, as I've long suspected, but she's willing to speak up when necessary because she has many messages she wants to share with the world. But unfortunately, going back to the song's thesis, she's worried that the people who aren't listening to her are those same people who need to hear her messages the most. This next section will be obnoxiously long. It will cover the tropical astrology used toward the end of the song, but before we jump into this long, complicated section, I'm going to feature our musical guest, Lil Kumari. Here's a short preview of her song, Lonely Sinner's Deity, prods Johnny OWE, and if you skip her best song yet after they gave me money for groceries, I swear to I will hunt you down.
Took some candy upon went on, wanted to see if I could talk to God. The thoughts I knew were sickening, the hate I felt was listening to everything, my only sin. Tell me what I gotta do now. Tell me what they all figured out. I'm a puppet on the string, never self-reliant, codependent, can't do one fucking thing. Tell me what I gotta do now. Tell me what they all figured out. Don't know any moments in escape, perpetuate the love, the tenderness that you will pay for. Lonely sinner's deity, the only one, the one I need. I wanna stay, oh please I plead. Lonely sinner's deity, do I love you like you hate me? I don't wanna
That's all for our preview. Be sure to click the link in the description to hear the full song and support my sponsor. Thank you. So, the song goes on. I try my best to show them me. My rising sign is all they see. Scorpio bitch with a sharp-ass sting. I got a Taurus, Sun, Moon, Mercury. Here in Field Trip, Melanie is using tropical, aka Western astrology. If you don't know what tropical astrology is, it's probably the popular astrology you're already familiar with. I'll give a quick simplified rundown on how astrology works so you can understand it. There are 12 zodiac signs, all equally spaced throughout the year to line up perfectly with the equinoxes. So in other words, even though Virgo is a big boy and Aries is a tiny little baby boy, they both take up the same amount of space in Western astrology, so it can be in sync with the seasons. So you'll notice every time there's a new season, you're in a new sign. It's timed like that on purpose. Depending on where the planets would have lined up with the constellations on the day and minute of your birth, if today's sky looked exactly like it did about 2,000 years ago, then you'll have a specific personality based on those placements. Now, I don't believe in tropical astrology anymore, as I ditched it in favor of the more current and precise constellational or true sidereal astrology, which references the exact current positions of the stars, the size of the zodiacs, etc., etc. But I guess that's for another day. I'm not here to invalidate whatever astrology you want to use, because it's not like the world's going to stop spinning. So anyway, I'm not going to talk about Melanie's constellational placements today in depth because it's not relevant to the song. Now, let's get back on track. Field Trip follows her tropical astrology placements, which are mostly in Scorpio and Taurus. As she stated earlier, she has triple Scorpio and Taurus placements. Her Taurus placements are arguably a stellium, though different people have different definitions definitions of it, it's usually defined as 3 or more planets in one sign. Stelliums are fairly common. I actually have 2 that are squaring each other, help my soul, but they are seen as powerful placements. For astrology purposes, the sun and moon are both considered planets, even though one is a star and the other is a moon. Trivia fact, the moon is made of moon. I guess you didn't know that. I mean, who would? Each planet covers a specific aspect of your personality. So that's the basics of how astrology works. Now, let's look closer at the lyric. I try my best to show them me. My rising sign is all they see. Scorpio bitch with a sharp ass sting. So your rising sign shows how you appear to other people. It's what you are on the surface. So what she's saying here in a more spiritual way is that no one is seeing the true her. All they see is her rising sign, Scorpio. People are only seeing that surface level Scorpio energy. Scorpio, a water sign, it's the more emotional element, seen as very dark, secretive, mysterious, sensual, passionate. Personally, I like Scorpios a lot, but anyway. If you're wondering about her other 2 Scorpio placements that she mentioned, it's her North Node, which is kind of like your destiny, and part of Fortune, which is kind of obvious. Some people would maybe term that as a stellium as well, but I don't see it as a stellium because I don't see the North Node or part of Fortunes as anything other than abstract points in space. They're not really like physical planets represented by anything, but anyway, still, whether you classify it as a stellium or not, that's still a lot of Scorpio energy in her tropical chart. And some would argue that what your rising sign is the most important, though I kind of disagree with that, but anyway. She continues with, I got a Taurus, Sun, Moon, Mercury. So this may seem random if you're not familiar with astrology, but it's actually further expounding on her previous point that all anyone sees is her rising sign of Scorpio. Because the Sun represents the ego, your basic personality, who you are consciously. Most people already know their tropical sun signs, because that's the kind of astrology we grew up with, but anyway. The Moon represents one's intuition, their feelings, feminine energy, who they are unconsciously. And Mercury represents the mind, how you think, how you speak, how you communicate with others. So these planets, which are all in Taurus for Melanie, represent who she truly is, the majority of her personality. Taurus is an earth sign, and Taurus energy is very loving, hardworking, reliable, stable, pleasure-seeking, and above all, stubborn as a f***ing bull. So basically, simply put, TLDR, she's saying people only see my surface-level Scorpio traits, and they aren't seeing the true me, a Taurus stellium. Going back to the beginning of the song, Mel also says, you know I'm not one to take orders from you. Disliking authority is another trait of Taurus, and it's also a common trait in indigo children if you believe in those, which I kind of don't, and starseeds, which I talk more about starseeds in a video I did in the past called The Astrology of Melanie Martinez. You might want to check that out, I don't know. Piper of the future here. I just want to cut in and mention that her Scorpio placements and her Taurus stellium are actually in opposition because Scorpio and Taurus are on opposite sides of the ecliptic. This is considered an unfavorable placement in astrology as there are challenges because these 2 energies, which she has triple of both, are polar opposites of each other, 180 degrees apart. For the purpose of this song, it could be viewed as her saying, everyone misunderstands me and they think I'm the opposite of how I really am, and when I try to tell them, they don't believe me. So anyway, the last verse is just the chorus again, which I've already gone over, so that's it. Please rate, subscribe, check out Little Kumari, and blessed be motherfuckers.